I'm here in this hidden pearl in Warsaw. This is the Jewish cemetery on ulica Okopowa. This cemetery opened in 1806, and since then it has served the Jewish community in Warsaw. But it's more than that. It's a valuable historical resource. When so much else was destroyed, during the Second World War particularly, this place survived remarkably. We'll be meeting some of the people who are restoring it, who are keeping it going. So do join me on this exciting episode of Poland Daily History. Having met Director Spielmann, we're now going to say a few words about the history of the cemetery. Mr. Spielmann, I think I'm right in saying that although Jews had been in the Warsaw region since the 14th century, we began to see a major increase in the Jewish population towards the end of the 18th century. And I imagine that's when, of course, the pressure for a cemetery in this location first arose.
Definitely, absolutely. As we know that in Middle Ages, Jews were living somewhere where there is old city now. And there was an ancient cemetery over there, as far as I heard. Somewhere where Hotel Bristol is located. Right. That's what I heard. It doesn't exist anymore, of course. And our cemetery was created in 1806 by the Jewish philanthropist Dov Berzonenberg, who was the son of Shmuel Zbytkover from Praga, from district of Praga. And since that time, you know, it grew until today's measurements, 33.5 hectares. And where the Jews were buried before that time, in the 16th, 17th century, I really don't know. I heard the version that the bodies were taken to Minsk Mazowiecki,
right,
and that time. And the Jews were buried that time there. But if it's true, I have no idea.
There was, I think, originally a large Jewish cemetery just over the river in
Praga. Yes.
In Praga, yes.
It's about 40 years older than ours. It was created by Shmuel Zbytkover, from the philanthropist from Praga, from the Praga district, and his son 40 years later founded this place, and it was very small area on the very beginning, and successfully it was extended. They extended, and they were buying another plots of the earth, you know, because the Jewish population was bigger and bigger in Warsaw, and they needed a place.
And I think I'm right in saying it reached its sort of fullest, the current 33 hectares in about 1869. I think was the. I think I read it was when it the sort of.
No. The today's area is from about beginning of 20th century.
Oh right, okay.
Something like that. Maybe the break through the 19th and 20th. Okay. Something like that. But through the entire 19th century, it was growing.
And I also, you will be an expert on this, but I read that there is an unusual feature about this cemetery in that most of the graves have their heads towards the gate, the main gate, not their feet. Because I think I actually read that typically in a Jewish cemetery, the people are buried so that their feet are facing the gate, so that on the day of resurrection they can get up and they can walk in a straight line. And I think there was a mistake made in this cemetery in 1819, and then the first chief rabbi of Warsaw, a chap called Shlomo
Shlomo Zalman Lipschitz.
He said that to avoid embarrassment for the first person who'd been buried the wrong way around, everybody would be buried the wrong way around. Is this a true story?
Correct, 100%. But besides the fact that it's not, they were supposed to be buried not towards the gate,
but towards Jerusalem,
which is the east.
The east, yes.
The east, indeed. Exactly. That's according to Jewish tradition. Every cemetery, the feet go towards the east. Indeed. At the beginning, in the first half of 19th century, they buried by mistake one very important guy with the head towards the east. And indeed, the first chief rabbi of Warsaw, called Shlomo Zalman Lipschitz, decided that since then we're going to bury everybody like that, and we do it until today.
And the other thing is that these are fascinating stories. It's amazing.
Indeed.
That makes history.
That makes our cemetery, that's one more reason to call our cemetery unique.
And because I think it is, would I be right in saying this is probably the largest Jewish cemetery in Europe?
Correct.
And therefore probably one of the largest ones in the world by definition.
Right. In Europe, definitely. Considering the number of graves, we are absolutely number one. Considering the area, bigger is in Łódź, but they have much less burials. So I think number of burials is much more important.
Of course, yes.
Than the area, so we are number one.
Number one.
I hope the other people won't kill me after that.
I don't think our viewers are violent people. At least I hope they're not. And in terms of the style, there's a mass different variety of sort of styles of graves. And could you say something about the symbolism on the individual headstones? Because I was reading that some of the symbols,
right, many of them mean something.
Exactly, yes.
That's true. Actually, our cemetery is universal. It's for all kinds of Jews, starting from very religious, very traditional, through communists, Bundists, Zionists, until the completely not religious, completely secular people. So, of course, there is a division for the Orthodox sections and non-Orthodox sections, which is visible very clearly looking at the tombstones. Orthodox sections and Orthodox matzavos, tombstones, are like we see over here behind me. You see, simple, mostly sandstone, mostly Hebrew writing.
Right.
And on other hand, on non-Orthodox sections, there is whole variety of the monumental stones, many only in Polish language or Russian, because Warsaw was under Russian occupation, of course. So, so there is a quite clear difference between them. At Orthodox sections, there is a division between section of men and women. They are buried separately, despite the fact that there is no rabbinical rule that it's forbidden, but still, and the couples could be buried next to each other. Husband and wife can be buried next to each other, but the Orthodox people kept the separation, and that's why there are sections for men and for ladies.
And do you maintain that division to this day, or is it,
no, not really. Today we have only one section to bury, but we keep the rows for men, rows for ladies, and a separate part for the couples.
Right. And at one point there was a separate part for children as well, I think I'm right in saying. Historically.
There are some parts which are mostly children in. It's on the other side of the main alley. This is late 19th century. There are some parts for the children. That's true. That's true. You were asking about symbolism. You know, there are many signs which are on the traditional matzavos. Of course, most universal of them is Magen David, the Star of David, right? Which means nothing, but it's just a symbol of that this is a Jewish grave. Of course, you can see also candles, candlesticks, or whole candelabras with candles. This is the symbol reserved only for ladies. Of course, ladies light the Shabbos candles, ladies light the holiday candles. So that's why the candlesticks, candles is the symbol reserved for ladies, and only ladies have them on their matzevos. Of course, we have Kohanim, those who came from the root of Aaron, the brother of Moses, who was the first high priest in the service of God.
Right.
They have which are thousands of them now in the world. They have this very characteristic putting the hands on their matzevos. These are Kohanim. The Levim, on the other hand, from the tribe of Levi, from the biblical times, have a bowl and pouring water into that.
Yes.
This is part of their job, meaning that they were washing the hands of the Kohanim before they blessed the nation, before they gave their blessing to the nation. That's why Levim have this symbol on their graves. Also, sometimes a symbol can mean the name of a person. If someone's name was Dov, which is a bear, or Hirsch, Tzvi, which is a deer, they have a deer on the grave. Yehuda, Aryeh, Leib, this is a lion, so they have a lion. Sometimes you can see open or closed, shelves with books.
Yes, I've noted a lot of those.
Yeah, that means that this person was very wise, very thought with Torah, studying holy books. Maybe a rabbi, a wise man who was giving the rabbinical decrees. That's why sometimes on the top of these shelves there is like a crown held by the two lions or whatever. Even more, a wise, holy man, holy rabbi. Sometimes, very rarely, you can see a chirurgical knife. That means that this is the grave of the moel, a guy who circumcises the babies, the male's babies after they are born. That's his job, and they have that symbol on their matzah.